reproductive rights are soon to be solidified for Coloradans. We take a look at the bill that's on its way to the governor's desk.
Colon cancer disproportionately impacts Black Americans. Fewer people have been getting screened for it. The new push to make at-home testing more available. And going to the dentist can be stressful. We'll talk about the new role that highly trained dogs are playing to reduce that anxiety.
Plus, we look back at the early years in the career of Madeleine Albright, spent here in Colorado, as we look back on her life of public service. Thanks so much for joining us for Denver 7 News at 4. I'm Jason Grenauer. News out of the state capitol. The Reproductive Health Equity Act is making its way to the governor's desk. Denver 7's Megan Lopez has been following this story from the beginning. She joins us live in the newsroom with the latest. Megan?
Jason, this bill has been one of the most contentious bills so far this session. There have been a lot of very long debates through every step of this process and a lot of impassioned and very personal pleas. All Democrats voted for the bill in both chambers. No Republicans did. Now, as a reminder, House Bill 1279 codifies into state law that everyone has a right to use or refuse contraception, that abortions are legal in Colorado, and that it's illegal to prosecute or punish someone who seeks one. It doesn't change what people would experience on the day-to-day since abortions are allowed right now, but supporters say it's necessary in case the Supreme Court decides to overturn Roe versus Wade. Now, the bill's co-sponsors say the importance of this passage cannot be understated.
This is a historic moment for Colorado. We have led in the past. We were the first state in the country to provide access to abortion care, and we're now the first state in the country to send a bill to the governor's desk post the abortion bans in Mississippi and Texas being considered by the U.S. Supreme Court.
Now, in a statement, Senate Republicans called the bill radical, saying, quote, upon its enactment, House Bill 1279 will allow for on-demand abortions for the full 40 weeks of pregnancy, including late-term abortion, and could lead to the erosion of parental rights. The bill now heads to the governor's desk. Once he signs it, it'll go into effect right away. I'm live in the newsroom. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
Again, thank you. Former U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright has passed away. Albright's family said she died of cancer. She was the first woman to hold the title of U.S. Secretary of State. During her time, Albright reinforced America's alliances in NATO, advocated for democracy and human rights, and promoted American trade and business, labor, and environmental standards as well. Albright spent her teen years here in Denver. Her father brought their family to Colorado from Czechoslovakia in 1949. Madeleine would later graduate from Kent Denver School. She was 84 years old. 2 avalanches were triggered within about an hour of each other today. One was up on Loveland Pass, the other on Berthoud Pass. There was a fear that there might be 2 people buried in this slide. Luckily, Grand County rescue crews were able to confirm that no one got caught. Experts at the Colorado Avalanche Information Center say avalanche conditions in the high country right now, they're due to a weak layer in the snowpack. There have been 6 deaths so far in this avalanche season. President Joe Biden's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, faced questions from lawmakers on the Senate Judiciary Committee again today. Gloria Pazmino has the latest from Washington.
Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson arrived at Capitol Hill for one last day of questioning.
Senate Judiciary Committee will come to order.
Lawmakers focused on her criminal defense attorney record, and she responded to criticism that she has been soft on crime.
I understand the need for law enforcement, the importance of holding people accountable for their criminal behavior. I also, as a lawyer and a citizen, believe very strongly in our Constitution and the rights that make us free.
Brown talked about her brother, a former Baltimore Police Department officer and an Army veteran.
Law enforcement is a dangerous profession, and as family members, you worry when you don't get the phone call.
South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham questioned Brown on whether undocumented immigrants should be allowed to vote.
Under our laws, you have to be a citizen of the United States in order to vote.
So the answer would be no.
It's not consistent with our laws, so the answer is no.
After the hearings wrap, the committee will vote on whether to advance the nomination, which appears on track to happen. A final vote on the Senate floor will follow. I'm Gloria Pazmino reporting.
President Biden is on his way to Europe today to meet with key allies over the war in Ukraine. There are fears that Russia may use chemical, even nuclear weapons. Now, the plan is to coordinate military assistance for Ukraine and possible new sanctions against Russia. NATO is holding the emergency summit with all state and government heads as a way to demonstrate unity and support. Now, the news feed starts with about 1 in 3 COVID cases right now coming from the BA2 Omicron subvariant in the United States. CDC data shows overall infections are still dropping, but health experts are warning that we could see an increase in cases coming up. Meanwhile, global COVID cases are up for a second straight week. They increased 7% according to the World Health Organization. Reported deaths have fallen by 23%. Moderna says today that its low-dose COVID shots will work for children younger than 6 years old. It plans to ask regulators to authorize 2 small-dose shots for that age group. It says volunteers in the trial had a similar immune response to young adults getting the vaccine. The shots will contain a quarter of a dose given to adults. The tax filing deadline is less than a month away. If you received the expanded monthly child tax credit payments last year, you may be in for some surprises when you file. Alexa Liaco looks at how you could still boost your refund.
For the families who received the expanded monthly child tax credits in 2021, they may be getting a smaller refund this year or may owe money back this filing season. And with the prices of everything from gas to groceries to housing going up, getting a smaller refund could be a big burden. As part of a pandemic relief package, Congress increased how much money parents got for the child tax credit and let them receive that money early. Families were able to collect half of the credit in monthly installments last year, with the remainder to be claimed this tax season. But some parents received more money than they should have, and they will have to pay back the difference. The advanced payments were meant to help families who couldn't afford to wait for their tax refund, and it worked. The payments reduced the number of children living in poverty by 40% and helped 3 times more families than usual. Congress had the chance to extend these advanced payments, but they did not, and it's already impacting families. According to the Columbia Center on Poverty and Social Policy, 3.7 million more children were living in poverty in January than in December. That's a 5% increase in just 1 month. For families who are worried about getting a smaller refund this year, experts say there are options. First, check for other deductions like the child care credit or the credit for self-employed workers who pay for their own health insurance. Parents can also contribute to a retirement account to lower their taxable income and the taxes they owe. President Joe Biden encouraged Congress to support an extension of the expanded tax credit, but so far, there's not enough support. For now, the credit has reverted back to its original amount of $2,000 with no option for families to get it early. I'm Alexa Liaco.
All right, Alexa, thank you. Ghost guns, you may have heard of them. They're sold online in kits to put together. They don't have serial numbers and they're hard to trace. They're starting to show up more often as the weapon used in school shootings. We're taking a look into how they could be regulated in the future.
Also coming up, staff shortages continue to grow in the public safety sector. What law enforcement is doing to recruit more officers.